Genesis 6 or Breetah 6, Breetah or Genesis 6. And it has a footnote indication here. So we're going to have a look at that. Genesis 6. Breetah, the Hebrew version of the Epic of Gilgamesh, which was probably 3,000 years older in the cuneiform. Yeah. This is the Hebrew version of those Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, Mesopotamian myths. And while human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, obviously because they interacted, they married, they had sons and daughters, right? And daughters were born to them. They say they're indicating here about their daughters. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men, and footnote indication there, we've got to add that we've done this video on who the sons of God actually were. It's not the fallen angels who supposedly had genitalia, all that sort of stuff. That's pseudo. Okay? It's pseudo scripture, pseudo meaning that's not necessarily true. You could say false, but we're saying it's not necessarily true. Right? You've got to verify, you've got to prove that these angelic beings created by God, as one Jewish French accented rabbi on YouTube says, how the heck can these angels have genitalia and do all this sort of stuff with female human beings, the daughters of men, when they're basically created by God to do his bidding? Yeah. So they had no use for genitalia, reproduction, having ovaries, a womb, being female and reproducing and all that sort of stuff. Okay. That's pseudepigraphic, or pseudepigraphy. And that's why it's been left out of the scriptures, etc. Out of your modern Bibles, these ancient manuscripts, etc. Okay, so these sons of God were that line of Seth who called on the name of God. So they were this holy line. Okay. But they left their rightful place. They turned their back on God because they saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. So they turned their back. They grabbed whoever they wanted, got with them, did the wild thing, and had sons and daughters who had sons and daughters who had sons and daughters. Okay, so while human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. And the sons of God saw that the daughters of men, this is unholy line, this is probably the Cro-Magnon, i.e. the Neanderthals, who went into the east, probably the land of Nod, and did their thing, and Cain went there, and he probably intermarried with one of those women there. Forget all those images you see in the museums, all that sort of stuff, that they got these rotten teeth, they're really ugly, hairy, ape-looking type woman. It's all probably all rubbish. You're just assuming that's what they look like. Like Lucy, where they claim they found a prehistoric, 3,000-year-old prehistoric woman and all this sort of stuff. It was eventually proved to be false, to be fake. We have a magazine somewhere that we picked up and it says fake, and then it was it's proven fake. But then there's another one that supposedly was 4,000 years older. That at this time being, they're saying is original, the real thing, you know, prehistoric man, or basically it's a man, a male, as far as we can remember. So Lucy's been debunked as fake, proven fake. Okay, so human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. Okay. The sons of God, that lineage, the holy line of God, where Christ was supposed to come through, right, saw that the daughters of men, just ordinary human beings, the ungodly, right, non-God related, that didn't have any communion with God, didn't have anything to do with God, animalistic men probably, were beautiful, and so they picked for themselves woman whomever they pleased. Oh, she's a beauty, I'll have her, grab. And the Lord said, my spirit does not reside in the human being forever. See, there you go, his spirit, his power does not reside in a human being forever, because he is flesh. He's just a walking, talking body, soul and spirit in the body, right? Spirit being life. given that life, right? Ability to breathe, made animate, right? Which is, remember in Breetah 1 or Genesis 1, God creates or brings forth this human being. He breathes into them the spirit, which takes them from an inactive or inanimate soul to become a animate soul, a living soul. You get up and walk around, do all these different things, right? So while human beings began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. The sons of God, with that holy lineage, holy line, saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and so they picked for themselves women whoever they pleased. Whoever caught their eye, right? And the Lord said, my spirit does not reside in a human being forever, because he is flesh. And his lifespan, possibly God is allocating here how long they're going to live until he interjects. He does something about it, right? The following, right? And his lifespan became 120 years, so maybe it was shortened, because remember before Adam and Eve, etc., supposedly live 800 years, all this sort of stuff. He shortened it. And his lifespan became 120 years. And they were giants in the earth in those days, in those ages, and even later, because the sons of God entered upon the daughters of men, and there was born to them aliens who were giants of universal fame. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the footnote indications here, in the footnotes below. Okay, 6:2. Sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. Okay, so what does it say down here? 6:2, literal Aramaic expression, daughters of the human being. 6:3:1, and the Lord said, my spirit does not reside in a human being forever, or eternally, or to the end of the universe. 6:3:1, literal Aramaic idiom, to the end of the universe. 6:3:2, which would be the second footnote indication, and his lifespan became 120 years. Or 6:3:2, literal Aramaic idiom, for a certain time, age, or eon, or era. He lived for 120 years. That was his lifespan, right? And in 6:4:1-3, literal Aramaic idiom, or expression, strange creatures, hybrid forms, monstrously large, Neanderthals. Well, we wouldn't say Neanderthals because they came later. They were found in the Neander Valley in Germany centuries later, right? We'd say Cro-Magnon, etc., etc. Those prehistoric cavemen types, right? So they weren't aliens from outer space or fallen angels or anything like that. Okay? Because of the interbreeding between the first human being, the pre-Adamic Adam, and the second human being, there became hybrids because they're too closely related. We're not geneticists or genetic experts or DNA experts or whatever. This is just using reason, common sense and logic, and obviously study research, right? Personal research. So it's too close, right? It's like having a half sister and a half brother getting together, or a brother and a sister getting together, and then there's an effect. Okay? A result, a consequence. Maybe the child is born with some sort of defect, or has club feet, or a hunchback, or something like that. Because the DNA, the genetics, is too close. Okay? So that causes its problems, right? That's why you don't marry your first cousin, etc., etc., right? That's why that's in place. Because you can have these deformations, right? These problems. Okay, so they weren't aliens. They weren't from another planet like Xanadu or Planet X or anything like that. Don't believe that rubbish. Okay, it's not saying they're UFO driving green men. Okay, they were just giants. They become giants. To those people in those days, let's say for example, we're just going to use this in general so you understand. Let's say a Hebrew sees this person, and this guy's like 5'5", right? And he looks and he sees this guy, he's about 7 foot tall or taller. He goes, wow, that's a giant. Okay, it might just be the case because the guy's way taller than him, so he's gigantic, he's a giant. But this could be where all the mythical stories you get, Jason and Argonauts, all those Greek movies in the old days, 70s, whatever, and you see these giants, Cyclops and all this sort of stuff. That's probably where all those myths came from, okay? Because there's possibly, like the old myths, the Akkadian, Sumerian, etc., Babylonian cuneiform tablets, etc., those epics say, well, supposedly there was these people who were half fish, half men, half donkey, half this, half that, these half fish men, whatever, they're on the earth at the time, and they used to come out of the water, and all this sort of stuff, right? So there's quite possible that there was this hybrid, this interbreeding, and this is what produces these giants. So we're thinking, wow, that, for what we've read the other day, that could be the ones that, like, this is how those blocks at the Egyptian pyramids, etc., etc., were so exact, so precise, and stacked up precise, right? It would have taken men with all those pulleys, blocks underneath, etc., pulling all these and putting them up, hundreds to thousands of years, 10, 20, 30 years or whatever, to put a line of blocks up, and then put another line of blocks up, and then put another line of blocks up. Okay, so it would have been easier if there was actually these big, strong giants, that picked them up and put them here, went to the next one, put them there, put them there. Instead of having this assumed crane system or log rolling system, or that sort of stuff. So they were giants, hybrid creatures. Going to look at it again. There's 4 literal Aramaic idioms. Strange creatures. They were like really weird looking. Hybrid forms, monstrously large, were Neanderthals. So we are the result of centuries of interbreeding. Okay, these Neanderthals eventually were outbred. You had humans who were faster, stronger, more intelligent, etc., according to these archaeological scientific discoveries, these facts, etc., that they're verified. So we are the hybrids of those prehistoric beings. That's why we have the animalistic nature. That's why sometimes we lose it, we get angry, we want to beat someone else up, we want to kill them, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of us do, we lose it, end up in jail for killing this guy because of something petty, something puerile. It's the hybrid in this. If you read, if you had a look at the video, as we suggested before, you have the theory of the Aborigine by a project by Nimrud Alexander. She said he wished he had more time to work on it, to make it a fully fledged theology or completed theory. You'd find that today we have people who get into power, they're very warlike, very aggressive. That's the hybrid. Yeah. That's that Neanderthal or pre-Adamic hybrid human being, right? But they don't have that spirit, that connection to God. They're just like animalistic until they actually receive God and then become a full human being. That's according to Victor N. Alexander's theory of the Aborigine project that we believe we did a video on. So those were giants in the earth in those ages and even later, because the sons of God entered upon the daughters of men, and there was born to them aliens who were giants of universal fame. So again, the DNA, the genetics were too close, so it didn't make human beings like them. It made these hybrids, these strange creatures, these aliens, these bizarre looking beings. And they were well known. Okay, they were of geographical fame, right? And then probably later on they become of universal fame through the myths of the Greeks, etc., etc., i.e. the Cyclops, the Minotaur, all that sort of stuff. And the Lord saw that men's evil, or the wickedness, the unrighteousness, spread on the earth, and every dissipation of their hearts' excuses became worse with every age. So whatever you think today what's evil, what's wicked, what's unrighteous, what's bad, all that sort of stuff, is sick, depriving, all that sort of stuff, is bad enough today. Well, you have to go back to that time, go in the time capsule, go back to there, and it's 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 1,000, maybe a million times worse. There's just no one to and police it, right? It just got out of hand. Anything and everything went, basically, both in thought and deed. And the Lord saw that men's evil spread on the earth, and every dissipation of their hearts' excuses became worse with every age, or every era, every year, month, day, month, whatever. And the Lord sighed over his creation of Adam on the earth, and there was reservations in his heart. It made him sigh, right? It made him sad. And the Lord said, I will wipe out the men, the human beings, I have created from the face of the earth, from the human beings to the four-legged animals, from the crawlers to the birds of the sky, because I regretted having created them. So let's have a look at those footnotes. Literal Aramaic, idiomatic expression, human beings, not happy with man, all those men, all those peoples. So God sighs over them because of their wickedness, their unrighteousness. And the Lord sighed over his creation of Adam on the earth, and there was reservations in his heart. And the Lord said, I'll wipe them out, etc., etc. But Noah found mercy in the eyes of the Lord. And this is the birth of Noah. So it's going back to when he was born, right? So this is the thing with the Bible, the scriptures, they go forward, they go backwards, they go forward, they go backwards. Even with the comparisons you have in the Americanized English Bible versions, in the middle of many of those old ones, they say CF, or compare this verse with that verse in the Old Testament or the New Testament, etc., etc. Noah found mercy in the eyes of the Lord, and this is the birth of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, and his seed was descendant. Down here it has grains. 6-9, literal Aramaic idiomatic figure of speech. It's a way of expressing it, because they have a different mindset, right? A different way of thinking, and a different way of expressing it through their language. And that's how it comes out in English. So, and this is the birth of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, and his seed was wholesome, and Noah worshipped God because he was righteous. He's the only one that was righteous, holy, right? And to Noah, this is indicating in this verse, and to Noah were born 3 sons, Shem, Cam, and Japheth. Okay? And the earth went mad before God, and the earth became full of abomination, unrighteousness, wickedness, evil, right? It just became a shithole, basically. And God saw the earth's madness, as all flesh had lost its direction toward him on the earth. They turned it back on him, right? That's why. And the Lord said, all flesh has gone mad before me, because the earth has been filled by abomination or wickedness, or such great evil, unrighteousness, before them. Behold, so he says, look, take note, I will abandon them to their madness, hand them over to their madness. That's what he does with all these things today. So they choose to be like that, so he just stands back, says, yeah, there you go, you want to be like that? I know better than you, because I'm the creator, and these are the consequences. If you don't want to listen, you don't want to listen to my precepts and my principles, etc., etc., the correct way to live, because I know what the end result is, the consequences, the rewards, what you're going to reap, well, that's your fault. You know, don't come crying to me. You make that decision, right? I'm handing you over to it, and you'll suffer the consequences. He's not being a meanie or anything like that. Yeah, he just says, well, you know, if that's the way you want to be, and that's the way you want to go, well, you go do it. You know, these consequences, you'll reap these sufferings, etc., etc. Because on God, I know better. I know the end result. But you know, I'm prepared to for you to come back, to confess your sins, be forgiven, cleansed of all of those, etc. Come back to me. I'm always waiting for you. But they say, nah, we don't need them. We're enjoying this. We like our dirty deeds. Yeah, we love it. So they'd rather keep doing that. Because it's all about sensual, right? Okay, so the Lord said, all flesh has gone mad before me, because the earth has been filled by abomination, wickedness and holiness before them. Okay? Behold, I will abandon them to their madness together with the earth. Okay? The sons of God, that's what they turn their back, plus the rest of the beings, right? And he says to Noah, make yourself an ark of wood from the root with curved chambers providing strength, and seal it from the outside. It's basically instructions. You have a look at the video of Irving Finkel. The guy looks like Santa Claus. He gets like he's really angry, but he's quite humorous. He's a British curator, curator for the British Museum, and he talks about Noah's Ark, translating from the original ancient preserved cuneiform, Babylonian cuneiform tablets, and there's apparently instructions there. Okay? It's all mythical, but there's instructions there from, let's say, especially if you remember, one of the pantheon gods of that mythical era, the Babylonian era, maybe Anu, that loved these human beings, or these beings that supposedly these gods from the planet, aliens, whatever you want to call them, decided to create, because supposedly, according to this, what's his name, Zechariah Sitchin, people like that, this guy stole a spaceship from another planet, came to the planet, found gold, plentiful greenery here, etc., etc., because apparently their planet, whatever that was named, was dying. It had this ozone layer of gold around it, gold dust or something like that, and it was slowly depleting, and once that particular layer, ozone layer, disappeared, then all the people would die, right? All these beings would die. So he steals a spaceship, he goes there, he finds these Neanderthals or whatever already living on the planet. It's all lush and green, and finds gold, whatever. He goes back and he tells them, and then supposedly the amalgamation or the conglomeration of aliens shoot over there with their spaceships and all that sort of stuff, and they're frightened to go down to dark places, like down into tunnels or stuff like that, the holes under the earth, ground places, right, caves, whatever. So they say, well, we have to make these slave beings that'll do it for us. They'll do all the work for us. So they somehow create these male versions, and they go down and get this gold and all that sort of stuff, and it slowly helps building it up their planet, their dying planet's ozone layer, whatever. But the production is too slow, so they've got to speed it up. So supposedly their queen, being a female, they play around with the genetics or this sort of stuff, and she produces these human beings in her womb, and they come out like her, and then they reproduce more, speed up production, so they make more of these hybrid slaves who go down there, get this gold, ship it back and save their planet, because they've only got a certain amount of time. According to those myths, right? So these plans were based on this pantheon of gods, god, goddess, saying, well, I love the human beings that he has created, or whoever's created, right? Don't want to see them get wiped out, because what the alien gods were supposed to be doing is, or planning to do, was probably with their weapons hit the polar ice caps, so it'll flood the whole world, get rid of these slaves. Didn't care about them anymore, so they got the gold to fix their planet, they didn't worry about them anymore, so they just hit that, it'll flood everybody, kill everybody, we'll zoom off on our spaceships, who cares, we won't look back. So this goddess, or this god or goddess said, here's some plans, you have to apply them and then live on. So apparently these plans were how to make this ark, but it's not the watermelon shaped one with the sushi roll looking one that you see depicted in Sunday school books and all that sort of stuff, the children's books, to convince them that that's what it looked like, and these animals are hanging out the window, giraffes and monkeys, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't a watermelon shape, and it wasn't a sushi roll shape. It was a round like a rubber tyre. When your kid go to the beach and your mother or whatever doesn't want you to drown, so she gives you this black rubber floating tyre, right? And you're in the middle of it. It's like that. It's called a coracle. And if you go look at Irving Finkel's video, he explains it. He says, so this is what we did, we recreated it and we sailed it down this river, etc., etc. So you have to go look at that to fully understand that perhaps these mythical stories, or these mythos like that from the Babylonian cuneiform tablet text that Irving Finkel's found and translated into the nearest English equivalent, was adopted and adapted and became this watermelon shaped, sushi shaped ark that they supposedly found remains of on Mount Ararat. So they probably adopted and adapted renditions of those old mythical epics. Okay, so God gives them these instructions here apparently, how to make it, how to secure it, and he tells Noah, and take note, I'll bring a deluge or great flood of water over the face of the earth. It doesn't say all the earth. It's probably talking about a certain geographical location. As we've mentioned before several times, we have a book called The Timetables of History. The new third revised edition is actually quite old. A horizontal linkage of people and events. And on page 3, column B, or something like that, it says disastrous floods in Mesopotamia regions. So it's not talking about the whole world, down to Australia, New Hebrides, Fiji, New Zealand, right? It's talking about that geographical region, probably one giant landmass where all these people, i.e. the men of the Tower of Babel, built the tower, were gathered right before God gave them that different languages, and he scattered them across that geographical location. It's not saying the whole world or global, but we believe that possibly that scientific finding that something, possibly a meteorite from outer space, hit the earth, or from the universe hit the earth, caused a giant tidal wave, we're seeing cause great tsunamis, or we just said tidal waves, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and killed all the dinosaurs, etc., if they existed on the planet, as well as all the human beings, the wildlife, the birds, and all that sort of stuff. Right? Okay. So we do believe that science probably has verified that this gigantic flood or this disaster happened globally, or happened to the whole world, not just that particular region or geographical location or regions in Mesopotamia.